Welcome everybody to the Imagine event. I'm your host today, Stacy Murphy from Dreaming Earth, and thanks for being here today. This is a space for us to not just talk about the changes that we'd like to see in the world, but to actually breathe life into those visions together, not merely as architects, entrepreneurs, visionaries, investors, but also as stewards of the earth to join forces and reimagine our relationship with our planet. This is where we dare to ask, what if? What if our buildings heal our soils and restore ecosystems? What if our cities are actually forests as well as our homes? What if our buildings are living, breathing entities that grow themselves even more biodiverse than we can imagine? And what if we see ourselves as an ecosystem of innovation, investment, and shared equity in this vision? So today I invite you to see the world with childlike wonder, to set aside what things currently are and to imagine what they could be, and to remind you of the power you hold to inspire those around you. At Dreaming Earth, we believe that imagination is our most powerful tool. So on a more tangible level, Dreaming Earth is an architectural studio with an entrepreneurial twist. So we incubate startups who are designing bio-based products that transform the construction industry. We believe every building block matters, that the future of architecture is biocentric. We believe that cities have to go beyond the idea of carbon neutral and focus on nourishing biodiversity and the ecosystems that we rely on for life of this planet. We believe a switch from a service industry to an entrepreneurial ecosystem will fuel that transition. So today we'll explore groundbreaking approaches to architecture, construction, and entrepreneurship. We are an intimate group here today, and this event is intended to create a little spark and light up the industry. So a little bit about me. I'm Stacy Murphy. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, architect, and engineer. I left engineering and architecture decades ago because I thought the industries weren't moving fast enough on sustainability. So I started my own think tank in 2009, from which I founded two businesses in regenerative agriculture and sold both. So the first was a decentralized urban farming network called BK Farmyards, along with FarmShare, which was an open source platform that allowed producers and consumers to transform underused resources and co-produce the local foodscape. I've incubated a dozen startups who are focused on a more regenerative world and help people bring their products to market. I've been noticing that the architecture and construction world is ripe for disruption on a massive scale. This is a $17.2 trillion market that has been business as usual for far too long. It's a huge opportunity. So let me ask you this. What do you see when you think about the future of architecture? What role do you see yourself playing in that future? And do you see more of the same, or do you see the signs of something new? Now, based on what I see, I believe we will be completely growing buildings and infrastructure by 2030. This represents a redesign of the whole system. So how do we get there? So to get to the future, I want to go back for a moment in time to 1885. Carnegie's first high-rise steel beam structure rose up and transformed city skylines. In 1882, J.P. Morgan financed Edison. They illuminated the world like never before with electric-powered homes. In 1886, transportation transformed from horse and carriage to the automobile. That was a lot of infrastructural innovation all at once. That was mass adoption of all of that made that possible. And that was really the Industrial Revolution that made it possible. So today we stand at a similar inflection point. Only now we're noticing that what we overlooked in the Industrial Revolution is that we were focused only on capital systems. We were overlooking the value of nature's ecosystems capital. And it's okay, we made a lot of mistakes. We were doing the best that we knew how to improve the longevity and quality of life of humanity. And now we know we can do better. So we know without a doubt that the planet is our life support system. It's very clear, and she's asking for our help. We know that our actions have global consequences. We know the importance of nourishing ecosystems, increasing biodiversity, rejuvenating communities, valuing all life on the planet. Many people are calling this the regenerative age. This era will transform the fabric of our civilization again. Buildings are becoming more and more biocentric with a focus on biological systems that restore the planet. So just as steel and electricity symbolized innovation for a long time, today we're celebrating groundbreaking bio-based materials and fabrication systems. It started with bamboo products years ago because it was a fast-growing plant, but it's not the fastest growing resource on the planet. So now hemp, algae, mycelium, and more are being converted into building products. And all of these have the availability to sequester more carbon, improve soils, and restore ecosystems. So we're quite literally growing the building blocks of tomorrow already. Moreover, designers are mastering the art of closing the loop on systems. They're upcycling everything from used coffee filters to corn and sunflower husks, and even transforming fish scales into marble-like countertops. So now we're also upcycling the building blocks of tomorrow. But this is just where regenerative architecture begins. I believe we stand on the threshold of an era where we will not just grow building materials, but grow entire buildings, structures that are alive, that are capable of self-repair. And this is already happening with algae-infused biocrete. So imagine buildings that generate energy, that we have roads that heal their own cracks, all made possible by breakthroughs in cellular biology. So when buildings have cellular biology as their method of growth, they're going to become their own ecosystems. So we're going to be accelerating more life on our planet, more energy on our planet. And then beyond the material innovations, consider human dimension of cities. So how can we design spaces that not only rejuvenate the human spirit, but nourish our communities? We're rediscovering that at our core, we are an integral part of the ecosystem. We belong here, and we are nature too. So imagine cities that are pulsing with the fundamental patterns of nature, fractal geometries, not only in the shapes of the spaces themselves, but in the materials. Imagine cities that are sanctuaries where we tune to the well-being and harmony of the natural world. When you're out in nature, you feel great. That's possible within our buildings as well. So perhaps your body feels like it's benefiting from nature no matter where you are. And I don't believe this is too far off. So when you put all these ideas together, imagine buildings that are woven together from living materials. And when we want to do some renovations, parts of those buildings compost back to the land and new areas grow. It's really not that far off, especially when you realize that our fabrication systems are on the brink of a paradigm shift too. We're moving into an era of exponential technologies like robotics, AI, and sensors. So in the past, indigenous nomadic tribes, they used to stop at canyons. And in order to get across, the women would start cutting the grasses and then weaving those grasses into ropes and then weaving those ropes into bridges. And then after they crossed, later it would all compost. We've already got 3D printing robots. Why not robots that weave living materials together and so much more? So what if we also had evolving building codes monitoring in real time for their structural integrity and safety with the help of AI and sensors? This is why I believe that buildings will grow themselves by 2030. And we get to be the stewards of ecosystems restoration in that process. So it's probably going to get more exciting from there. I don't know what to predict beyond 2030. Advances in quantum physics, regenerative energy sources bring new opportunities for nature-based solutions. So this isn't really about incremental changes. It's about quantum leaps in how we think about and how we build our world around us. We are seeing science fiction become reality before our very eyes. So this moment right now, it's our light bulb moment. It's our steel skyscraper moment. It's where we show what's possible now. And it's just like those who witnessed the first city light up at night. People are about to say, wow, to a world that is completely transformed. So how do we get to this vision of growing regenerative buildings? And I believe you might be the answer, because visionaries turn imagination into reality. So this is what architects have always done. As an architect, you imagine it, you draw it, next thing you know, it's built. You're turning imagination into reality. That is your superpower. Own it. And so are you ready to light up the world like those visionaries did over a century ago and wow people? What does your wow moment look like? And I know you have one, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Go ahead and post it in the chat so everybody can see it. And you're going to hear from a couple speakers soon here and their wow moments. They're very inspiring people and very inspiring missions. And you're also going to get a chance later today to share your wow moment within the community in conversation to help you expand and share your wow moments and potentially find collaborators, partners, and friends. So let's talk about the architecture industry for a moment and what it would mean to be a regenerative entrepreneur in the architecture world. So many people say that this is the problem with the construction industry, that the construction sector is responsible for 39% of worldwide CO2 emissions, that concrete produces about 8% of global CO2 emissions, more than any other building material. Steel production accounts for 7 to 9% of all direct emissions from fossil fuels. So this is the way people frame the carbon market, but it doesn't take into account the incredible value in systems thinking. Where is pollination in the carbon market? Where is access to clean water in the carbon market? There's a reason humans have a hard time trying to reduce the complexities of nature down to one metric that we can all agree on. It's because everything is valuable in a thriving system, all the way down to the teeny tiny phytoplankton in the ocean that are responsible for every second breath you take. Even things you can't see, things you can't hear, things you can't touch, they're there. It's hard to measure that value from a human perspective. We don't even know everything that's available. So just last year, there was 355 new species discovered. Shouldn't say new, they've been here, right? And our current systems thinking is incredibly linear and efficient. So no human energy delivery system comes close to photosynthesis, which is 97% efficient. Closest we've come is like 60%. If we could metabolize materials the way that nature does, we could help support the regeneration of all our ecosystems. So the reason why photosynthesis is so efficient is quantum physics, which a lot of us can't imagine quantum physics going on inside of all of the plants around us, but that's what's going on. So our guiding principle here at Dreaming Earth is honoring all life on the planet. Honoring all life on the earth means recognizing there are no problems. There's no one equation to solve. There are just opportunities to exchange one type of energy for another. That's what photosynthesis is. That's what everything is doing. It's exchanging energy with everything else. This is the most magnified image of just one perfect cell of your body. So this is similar to every other cell of everything on the planet. It's life exchanging one form of energy for another. Your human stomach is a vessel that regenerates completely every 4 days. Your stomach acid eats the lining of your stomach every 4 days, but it never leaks fluid because it also regenerates every cell. So imagine a building that heals itself after a hailstorm. We have a lot to learn on a cellular level about materials and structures that are truly regenerative. And indeed, there is at least a $1.3 trillion market for just materials alone if we were to replace what we have with regenerative materials, not to mention the rest of the construction industry growing to 17.2 trillion by 2030. So there's another layer to this story, which is what I think is the good news. Another opportunity that nobody is talking about, and that is you and all the other undervalued, underutilized architects and visionaries and designers who've been envisioning a new world for hundreds of years. This goes back to Buckminster Fuller, Archigram, Paulo Soleri, hundreds of years. Their designs not built, all of them were generative. So the architecture industry as a service industry it undervalues these gifts because you get assigned to a project, you have budgets and timelines. You don't have any time or space for research and development. So if you have a bigger vision like this, you have to find a client willing to see the bigger picture, one with deep pockets, because you're creating something new. And then teams are trying to create entire regenerative eco-villages. And I've seen dozens of people all around the world trying to create regenerative eco-villages. This issue is magnified. I've built two, I should know. I was a director of permaculture school, natural building school, and helping to design and build two eco-villages. It's tricky to design from the components that are not yet regenerative. So the future of architecture is not about investing in sites and real estate deals that are just going to use the same old construction techniques. It's about investing in the building blocks that will help fuel growth and positive impact across the whole sector. And actually, it's about investing in teams who are imagining that future. That's why it's my mission to incubate ideas from 1 million regenerative designers. So do you have an idea worth investing? And this might be you. See if this resonates. Architects, designers, frustrated that most of your ideas have never been implemented. It's an uphill battle fighting the status quo, timelines, and budgets as a service industry. Imagine the amount of innovation wasted when you think about all the decades of designers without a business strategy to bring their concepts to market. So instead of the idea that architects design one-off buildings, what if there was a place to bring your designs to life in a way that benefits more communities and gives you more equity in your future? Lucky for us, there are mandates and global goals that are incentivizing a market boom in this category. Nobody knows how to meet these net zero carbon mandates yet. So there is money on the line, and if we don't meet these mandates. And while we want to go beyond carbon, this is helpful for us to meet people where they're at. So what are we doing here at Dreaming Earth? We are essentially a skunkworks operation for the architecture and construction industry, open source architectural studio for shared equity in the regenerative economy. And how it works, you might be an architect, a designer, a scientist, entrepreneur, engineer, investor, or simply a visionary. And you may be working at a firm or have your own firm. You join the ecosystem where we bring teams together by interest. We then incubate your product ideas and help you connect with the right investors. And it all starts with a virtual hub, but it will become a global network of physical innovation labs. And how do we help? We have comprehensive support. So we have the open source Regen Now series in the coming weeks, where you'll hear about projects, learn regenerative principles. You can see what's possible for you and your and for you to start and get ideas. There's the EarthQuest Incubator, which is different. It starts with nature's perspective. It combines the best of a vision quest from our Indigenous elders with business startup implementation. And we're gearing up for cohort 2 now. Eventually, we're offering a training platform to help colleges, architects, industry leaders, investors, and visionary designers to implement these regenerative entrepreneur techniques in their communities. So the mission is millions of designers to receive this business incubation. There's Planet Pitch, which you'll see later today, where you get to pitch to angels and VCs. And when your project is ready for investment, later we'll have a fund to support as well so that you can receive an equity stake in the future of your product. We do special events. So we do in-person EarthQuests. And the reason why this event is a little bit more intimate is that I've been with the whales in person with some clients focused on helping them, and there'll be more in-person EarthQuests with orcas, dolphins, mobile arrays, and more coming up in the next couple months. So how do you get involved? It is a professional network. We are at a founding place right now. So we have a membership model to help you stay up to date on the latest developments. And there are different levels depending on what you need. And so we have the enthusiast, who's somebody who's a supporter, all the way up to somebody who needs an enterprise for their entire architectural firm, their entire construction firm, as a way to help them incubate the products that they're thinking about. And so where I am now, Dreaming Earth is a small project right now. And I am also a pre-seed startup. So we're just getting started. So there's a lot of help that I could really use. I'd love for you to join me in accelerating the building blocks of tomorrow. So there are lots of different ways to do that. Becoming a founding member or supporter, becoming a part of the team, introductions to architecture schools where we can bring this education to the school, showcase architects as entrepreneurs and give them the business training that they need. Connect us to biolabs, connect us to architectural firms for lunch and learns, and then help us plan the next Imagine event. So I really want to do a big event. This one's very intimate, just a spark to get us started. So if you want to help plan the next Imagine event that I see for September, that would be helpful. And you can always apply to pitch on stage. And we also have investment opportunities as well. So I'm really grateful that you guys are here. And for anybody watching this, please reach out, contact me directly if there's any way that you want to get involved.